You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
This week, it's Andrew Dodds from Andrew Dodds Autocare.
So welcome back to Ayrshire Insights with me, Elliot Boyce, and as promised, we have a brilliant guest on today's show for this week's Local Legend Spotlight. This man is the driving force behind one of Ayrshires top pit stops for MOTs, servicing, repairs and tyres. I'm delighted to welcome Andrew Dodds from Andrew Dodds Autocare. Andy, a massive thanks for coming on the show today.
Elliot, you're very welcome and proud to be here.
Thanks. So before we find out how it all started, we want to know what kind of car guy you are. So, Porsche or Ferrari?
I used to be a Ferrari man, but I'm probably swithering more to Porsche now.
Electric vehicle or petrol?
I am a petrol head, although I have got an electric vehicle.
So what are you going with? You've got to pick electric vehicle or petrol?
I'd probably still stick with the petrol.
Coupe or an SUV?
Coupe.
There we go. So we've heard about his go-to car, but we're going to find out a lot about Andrew Dodds very soon.
This is the Ayrshire Insights Podcast.
Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe now.
So Andy, where did you grow up?
I grew up, I'm born and bred in Belfield in Kilmarnock. Right from obviously my young ages right up until when I got married, and we built a house in Darvel. Lived up the valley, and now I'm in the middle of the country just outside Kilmarnock.
You said you were a petrol head earlier on. Have you always been a petrol head? Is your job's always been surrounding cars?
Not always. Growing up, I was always into cars. Followed a lot of motorsport and rallying and things like that, and grew up helping others with their rally cars, doing things, and that's basically what drove me into it. And then when I started working, I was actually employed as a centre attendant in the Galleon Sports Centre in Kilmarnock. So I spent a couple of years in there. Then I went and worked in a factory, moulding needles for machines. So it was a kind of hands-on job doing things. Then I moved on from there into the parts side of vehicles. I worked in Parkco in Kilmarnock. I then left there and I decided I went to work for a franchise. I worked for Renault up in Glasgow. So ended up, that was my first break that I got as a manager. Started in there as a manager, and then I moved into various other parts sites where I worked with TMS Motor Spares, and latterly it was with Dingbro, and I was an area manager there selling diagnostic equipment to all the garages. So I was travelling round a lot of garages seeing how things were done.
So you've gone from a kind of big CV in the car industry, working through the various car part suppliers, to then starting your own business. So have you always had in your head you want to start your own business? How did you go from being employed and then to go and starting what is now a successful business?
It was always a thought that I had in the mind, but when I was younger, again, it was not having these opportunities, not being able to afford to do it. I had a young family, and obviously I was then in a kind of predicament where I was more want to fend for the family than try and go and invest in something. I went and run a business for a friend for a few years. Then we took a year out, and my best friend actually had spoken to me. I went to look at buying a business. Then between myself and my good friend, we actually ended up, we went a different route. We went and decided we got a brand new building, and we tried to build it round about being a garage that could be local. It was brand new, so when people were going to walk into it. So with me being about garages for as many years, it gives you an insight into how a garage should be run, the things you should do, how the garage should look and appear to customers. So a lot of garages possibly didn't get that right. Then there's a lot of marketing behind it, which my partner was really good at. So he actually done all the marketing side, and that's obviously taken us on leaps and bounds. And it's really, I can't say anything other than it's just grown very, very well. We try and look after our customers. We are still 5 years down the line, and we're still getting a lot of new customers, a lot of new businesses bringing their vehicles, and it's having a bit of attention to detail and going that extra mile that tries to put you forward and above the rest of them.
We're going to talk about the big wins and the big lessons just after this.
You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
This week, it's Andrew Dodds from Andrew Dodds Autocare.
What was your first biggest win?
First biggest win was when we started obviously building the business ever so slightly. We chose to go down some garages work different ways to others, but we decided to go down a route where we wanted to look after customers' vehicles the way people should expect them to be looked after. So the biggest thing that we done for us is we've teamed up with a half-decent oil company. We use Shell vehicle oils. So we use quality components in people's vehicles. We don't sell cheap, inferior parts. And we always find the biggest win that you get is word of mouth. If you do a really good job in a customer's car, then obviously it speaks volumes for itself. So try and do customer relations, really look after the customer. I think if you go the extra mile, we try and treat customers the way you would expect to be treated yourself. So if you're treated properly, I think it works leaps and bounds. And in business, I think you always find that if you're treated properly, customers come back.
I think that's probably a good point, especially with car garages. It's one of the probably second most expensive thing that somebody buys without buying a house. And it's one thing that I think everybody listening to this will go, it's probably one of the most expensive things that you've got to keep and maintain. And yeah, it's being able to trust what you're getting for, and also knowing that you're getting value for money and not feeling that you're getting in and things are getting brought up and you're going, what? I don't get that. And why is it costing so much? And I think that's something that from you guys, and certainly what I've heard out and about, is something that you guys are well known for doing the right thing and
Yep.
delivering what you're actually saying and not just adding extra services on that may not be required.
No, you find some people, if a part's not required, you've got to be upfront and trustworthy. Tell people it's not required. Advise them when they think those parts are going to be needed. And as you say, it's probably the second biggest thing outside your house that you purchase. And people love their cars, so they want their cars to be treated the way they would treat them themselves. We've invested in equipment. We've got a laser guided tyre changer, which was £20,000. Now, it doesn't mark your alloy wheels. If some people go past our garage, they maybe see Porsches, Ferraris, high-end Audis and things like that. We're being trusted with these vehicles because customers are giving them, and they know they don't get damaged and they get them back the way they want them. No marks in the wheels, and that's what people are looking for in a high-end vehicle.
Invest in the kit, invest in the people, you get a good product and a good service at the end.
100%.
Now, through business, there's always difficult days. What would you say your hardest days been within Andrew Dodds Autocare?
I would say the hardest days we had was the worrying times when we opened, obviously 5 years ago. We basically were setting the garage up when we hadn't opened, and COVID kicked in. So it was one of those thoughts that's in your mind. It's a kind of do or die situation. We'd invested a lot of money in the building, getting things all built inside it, ordering all the equipment. Then when we were actually getting close to getting the equipment installed, COVID kicked in. They couldn't deliver the equipment. Then we got the equipment, started installing. Our tyre changer again, it was an engineer from Italy that had to come to set the machine up. So because of COVID restrictions, he couldn't come. So things didn't progress as quickly. And obviously the worry we had because COVID had kicked in is, are we going to get the footfall through the door? But luckily, garages remained open. So we were opening a new business. We didn't have any customer base. But fortunately, because we were on a main road, customers were driving past, realised we were open, and luckily enough, the businesses just went every month from strength to strength.
Do you think indirectly during that period that people were obviously in their house, they were probably more on their phones, their computers, having a look at things, that your online marketing presence really helped, that people were seeing more? Or do you think it was growing solely by luck that people were driving by and seeing it?
I think there was luck, and I'm fortunate. I knew quite a lot of people and people with businesses who were fortunate enough that they promised that they would give me business when I opened, and fortunately enough they did. And then what we found was a lot of people who maybe used another garage were finding difficult times. Those garages had maybe put folk on leave and things like that. So
Furlough.
They were on furlough. So basically it drove customers into the garage, and because obviously where we were situated, people could see we were open, and I think that built the business quite quickly.
Would you say, and I kind of touch on this time because it is such a challenging period, there was obviously a lot of support that businesses got, but that was businesses with established books that had trading history. With you just starting out, was there no COVID support available?
We get nothing at all. We basically fell out the jurisdiction because the business hadn't officially opened.
You had nothing to
so
back
we
it
had
up.
Nothing. So that's where I say that's when the tough times became, because we had nothing to fall back on.
Hard day, hard period, I think is probably the point. And a number of businesses that we have spoken to have told the story, and I would, to be honest, to say that probably the lion's share have always had a story, and COVID certainly been that period. But to come out the other end of that must be a really proud moment for you. But keeping on the kind of the hard days and now looking at the difficult decisions, what would you say some of the most difficult decision that you've had to make?
I've been fortunate. I've not been in a situation where we've had too many difficult things. Obviously, you ride through times at the beginning, and money's a worry when you're starting business. So you kind of get established and you can build that nest egg up. When the nest egg builds, then it obviously gives you that extra bit of money to input into the business to try and make the business grow. So we've added quite a lot of other things that we've bought to obviously drive us forward. The big picture looking forward is hopefully at some point in Ayrshire there'll probably be another Andrew Dodds Autocare, and we'll build on the future. So that's hopefully the way we're looking at.
Looking at money, and as a business show, I think it's important for the listener and people who may be looking to start up. What advice would you give to somebody who is in a start-up? Yeah, initial investment gets you the machinery, gets you the premise, but to grow that, and not everything's rosy at the start. There's an element of building before profits start coming in. What would you say to somebody who's new in business, whether it's a large-scale business or indeed something small? What would you say the kind of key lesson that you had during that period would be?
I would say you have to build your business on your morals. Trust is a very big thing in business. If you're not trusted, then people's not going to come to you. So the biggest thing is build your business on trust. If people can trust you, they'll come through the door. If you get the right quality of customers and they trust what you do, they'll come back. And it's the repeat business down the line that builds your business for the future. You don't want someone popping through the door once and never coming back. So you really need to build your business on trust. Now, I trust in everything we do. I trust in the guys we've got that work for us. And at the end of the day, it's getting things right. Get the combinations. You need to, as I say, invest in the right stuff and obviously build it. When we were opening the business at first, I wanted to call it a different name. And the woman that does all our marketing, Mandy, she sat down and spoke to me, and she said, I want to call the business Andrew Dodds. And I was like, no, I don't want my name above a door. I'm not that type of person. She says, no, I want you to put your name above the door. She says, if I come to your garage, why do I come to your garage? She says, I come because of you. She says, so at the end of the day, if you trust in what you do, put your name above that door. She says, you don't hide behind anything. She says, so at the end of the day, with your name being a bit of presence, which I didn't want to do, but your name's the one above the door, people trust that name, and then you build up a business relating round about your name.
Putting your name to it.
Yes, 100%.
Now, some massive challenges going through, but some really proud days. What would you say your proudest moment has been?
Probably in the garage side of it. Unfortunately, it just got to the point where I get the signs up in the door, I got everything all done and dusted, and my dad, I'd lost my mum a few years before, and my dad was in a care home, not looking good. Obviously, we're ticking time bomb waiting on that day. And one of the proudest moments I had at the garage was the care home during COVID allowed my dad to get taken out. And my dad get brought to the garage. He was absolutely over the moon, seen everything. And I've got a picture on my desk in my office of myself and my dad standing at the door of the garage. And honestly, the picture in his face, just to see him, he was over the moon. The only other thing, I mean, I've been a Kilmarnock man all my days. My dad was from Ayr, The only thing I wanted to do, I wanted to take a sponsorship at the side of Somerset Park, and I wanted my dad there to get a picture taken with him there as well, but unfortunately we lost him before that. But the proudest moment I've got, I must admit, is I've got that picture of my dad sitting at my desk, and it's great just to look at it.
A lovely memory, and also talking about that challenging time, some of which people would not have been afforded that opportunity. People have missed that opportunity, but for you to have been able to have that memory with your dad is amazing.
Yeah, I must admit, it just brings a smile to your face when you look at the wee picture on the desk and knowing that he managed to get to see everything before sadly he passed.
Now, challenges in running a business and going through the full period of it, clearly they're every single day will come with its own challenges, whether that's down to parts and trying to get things through the door, labour, which is always a challenge in businesses. But what would you say one of the biggest challenges that you find in running a business is?
The biggest challenges at the moment, especially in the motor trade, is getting staff, to be truthful. Now, the biggest problem, getting skilled workers is an issue. Obviously, unfortunately, on our doorstep we've got the air industry, who's employing a lot of people. They've taken a lot of skilled staff away, so trying to get skilled mechanics, skilled MOT testers, they are hard to come by. So the problem now we have is it's all youngsters that we're trying to train to get up, and obviously the monetary values that they're looking for.
Totally. Now, it's one of those ones when you look at for Ayrshire, and there's a lot of stories and positives of having the aviation sector there, thousands of jobs creation for it, but I think not just yourself and talking to various similar companies, it is a challenge when you've got such a massive amount of people that are all looking for skilled work, and with mechanics, fitters and all those types of trade linking together, it does create a skill shortage. Now, I have been speaking with local councils and councillors and things that they're trying to do. Do you think that with the labour shortage that the schools and the kind of pre-apprenticeship qualifications that can be done through schools, are you getting benefits from apprentices, or are you always looking for skilled staff?
Skilled staff is always paramount, but at the end of the day we do realise now we need apprentices, which we've got one in the garage at the moment. So again, it's the time that it's taken them. Obviously it's 4 years from the day they come through the door, and the biggest thing you actually find is there's youngsters come in the door, they think they're interested but they're not, and you don't want to spend time, money trying to build these guys up and then they walk away. But unfortunately that's what's happening now. People are you're spending, investing a lot of money in these guys, and then they get to the end of it and then they think, oh, I want to go and work at the airport. It's one of those things. I mean, we try and look after the staff we've got. I don't like a revolving door where staff keep coming and going. I don't think it's good for business. I like to keep a level playing field. People build a business, they pop in the door and it's still the same people, which makes a big difference. But again, you've got to have trust in the people that work with you. But certainly apprentices, I mean, you probably, us ourselves and probably a lot of other businesses, you get constantly people looking for apprentices to try and get a job as an apprentice. Unfortunately, we just don't have that volume of workers that we need. It's probably more skilled we need rather than apprentices.
In terms of staff retention, how do you find best to overcome this and keeping people?
I think we have basically, some of our staff have got vehicles which we try and help. It's obviously an added bonus, so it's like an extra car to that family if the guys are working with us. Looking after them, I mean, we do things of what we call a Fat Friday. I let the guys pick what they want for lunch on a Friday, if they want a Domino pizza, if they want a KFC or a Chinese, and we do that every Friday without fail. I pay for it at the end of the day, and the guys sit down, have their lunch on a Friday, and it's on me every week. So things like that certainly do help.
Doing things for them with everything they do for you?
Yep, 100%. At the end of the day, yes, it's my business, but my business isn't complete without these employees. And if these employees are not there, then you don't have a business.
You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
This week it's Andrew Dodds from Andrew Dodds Autocare.
Now it's time to talk community charity and Ayrshire pride, but before we do that, the listeners have been in touch and let me know their weekly bargain. So the question with you, what's your bargain of the week that you've got for a tenner or less?
Well, it just so happened that on Friday we actually got a bargain from Domino Pizza at lunchtime. As I said, we get a Fat Friday. Now, a large pizza with one topping, £6.99, an absolute bargain.
There we go, you've heard about Andy's bargain of the week, and you can keep yours coming every week, so make sure if you're out and about, let me know what your bargain of the week is. We do that every Sunday. So Andy, back to you. Why support local causes like us here at Now Ayrshire Radio?
Well, I think it's great to see keeping things local is a big thing to me. At the end of the day, if you invest in things locally, we're helping not just ourselves, we're helping other businesses, we're helping young people. It makes Ayrshire thrive. And at the end of the day, everything that we're trying to do is about Ayrshire. We've advertised obviously with Now Ayrshire Radio, which is working wonders for us. It's a great opportunity for anybody that's thinking advertising in Ayrshire. I find it really, really good. People coming in and saying, "Oh, I've heard you in the radio," and honestly, it's really good for business. We also do some other things in Ayrshire. We've got a couple of people in motorsport. There's a young boy who comes in and works with us on a Thursday, Lachlan Hunter. We sponsor him in his rallying tasks. We've also got a young lady, young Lucy Cree. We help Lucy obviously with her rallying as well. And we've got Erin and Rachel Forrow who we help. Obviously we've sponsored them with their horse riding. And Sienna Nisbet, we also sponsor her as well. I've also just sponsored a young lady, a goalkeeper with Cambridge Doon Ladies, Erin Hunter. So I've went for her sponsor for the year as well. And we always look at opportunities, again, keeping it local, and obviously the more local youths we help, we can try and develop more things in Ayrshire.
Links in well, so I'm sure listening to Now Ayrshire Radio you've heard that local feeling. What does that local feeling mean to you?
That local feeling is great. You walk round about and people are talking about the radio station. The radio station's buzzing at the moment. But I think the more we keep local, we help everything else. Have another thing, we're sponsoring the Lombard Rally Revival, which is at Crawford Castle in August. It's going to be really good as well. Again, we've got Now Ayrshire. Hopefully we'll have Now Ayrshire Radio coming, doing a wee bit there as well. We've got quite a bit of stuff lined up for that. So that again, people look at things and they wonder why things move away from the area. Now we're trying to bring these things locally to Ayrshire. If we bring them to it, it's a day out for people, it's on their doorstep, and it builds up more and more. So this is the second year, so fingers crossed this will be a lot better than last year.
And kind of linking back to the business side, if someone's listening to this, whether it's live on the radio or listening back in the podcast, what would you say to someone who might be looking to start a business or has a business and looking to expand it? What would you say about Ayrshire to them?
Ayrshire's a great place to start. It's just do your homework, check out how many people are in the area depending on the business that you're doing. I would say one major thing for us was getting a prime site. The prime site, obviously, we could probably have got a unit a lot cheaper, but if you're hidden, you're harder to find. I think being at the forefront and letting people drive past and see you, one of the biggest things we had at first when we opened, basically people said, "Oh, I'm not going in that garage, it looks too expensive." That's just because we designed things, we made it look nice. So when people looked over, they just see something really nice and think that's going to be expensive. That's not always the case. At the end of the day, people come into us now and go, "God, you're cheaper than what we thought."
And that just shows, because I was actually using your garage just a couple of weeks ago and had to phone you and ask where it was because I drove right by you.
Can't you miss the big name above it?
that says a lot more about me, by the way. Right, okay, so we're going to finish with a strong round and find out what's next for Andrew Dodds Autocare's founder, Andy, just after this.
Tune in live every Sunday from 10 a.m. for Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Only on Now Ayrshire Radio.
Now Ayrshire.
And it's now time for 5 fast ones. So Andy, don't think about it. Give me the first answer that comes into your head. Are you ready to play 5 fast ones?
Yeah, of course I am.
Right, favourite takeaway?
Saturday night, the wee Chinese and Miss Blowing. Absolutely brilliant.
Song that always lifts your mood?
I'm a Coldplay man. I must have been anything for Coldplay.
Best thing about Ayrshire?
Ayrshire, me. No, but out with that, all the people in Ayrshire, great folk. You can't beat them.
Weirdest moment at work?
Probably young William the Apprentice. One of these days, he came viral when he done a wee dance and didn't think we caught him. We got him in camera and he became the dancing queen of the garage.
The Andrew Dodds dancing queen.
That's him.
And who's your biggest idol in motorsport?
I must admit, my idol when I was younger, Colin McRae, outstanding in his field. I was fortunate enough to have known Colin and spent a bit of time doing bits and bobs with him. Absolute icon in my eyes.
Brilliant, thanks for playing 5 Fast Ones, and we're going to be asking our guests every week to get involved with that. Now, Andy, back to you, and before we finish up, what's next for you and your business?
Well, I've always had expansion plans, so hopefully in the next 12 months, hopefully, if everything goes the way we find it going at the moment, hopefully we'll have Andrew Dodds Autocare number 2.
Oh, and whereabouts?
Well, that's for me to know and you to find out.
We'll find out. Keep an eye on that one. What's one thing you hope for Ayrshire's future?
I just hope Ayrshire keeps thriving. I hope we see a lot more businesses. Shopping centres is a dying thing. Everybody goes to Silverburn and up to Braehead. I would like to see a lovely big place in Ayrshire.
And your final shout out, so see who everyone's been involved. There's been Andrew Dodds Autocare, as you mentioned earlier, the people behind you. So who throughout would you like to see a big kind of shout out? Who supported you through your time in business?
Family, friends, my friend Gareth Gillespie, can't thank you enough. Absolute superstar, and I wouldn't be here without him.
Andy, a massive thanks for coming on the show today.
Elliot, an absolute pleasure.
This is the Ayrshire Insights Podcast.
Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe now.